For 16 years, fire swept the stars, entire worlds were shattered, fleets annihilated, and the Republic staggered on the edge of collapse. A people bound by war had risen, and they sought nothing less than galactic conquest. Who were the Mandalorians? Why did they begin such a war? And how did their crusade bring even the Jedi to breaking point? This is the story of the Mandalorian Wars. 2 decades before, the Republic had bled in the Great Sith War. Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma were defeated, but their battles left scars. Jedi numbers had thinned, fleets were scattered, and the Senate clung to fragile stability. It was an age of rebuilding, an era the Republic thought would bring peace. For the Mandalorians, it was an invitation. The Mandalorians were more than soldiers. They were a culture built on battle, where honor and strength were the highest virtues. Peace was decay, conflict was growth. Their warriors sought challenge, and to die in glorious combat was the highest end. To them, the Republic's prosperity was weakness, a vast civilization grown soft and ready for conquest. In this climate rose Mandalore the Ultimate, a Tong warrior who claimed the mask of leadership. He brought order to scattered clans, uniting them under the Neo-Crusader banner. Beside him stood Casus Fett, a master strategist who gave their fury structure. For the first time, the Mandalorians became not raiders, but a disciplined, organized war machine. But Mandalore's crusade was not born of his vision alone. An emissary of the hidden Sith whispered to him of destiny, of a galaxy ripe for conquest, of glory waiting in battle with the Republic. Through subtle influence, the Sith Emperor bent Mandalore's will. Believing the idea his own, Mandalore prepared to unleash his people upon the stars. Mandalore's reforms transformed his people. No longer only Tong, any warrior who proved strength could don Neo-Crusader armor. Humans, aliens, mercenaries, all were welcomed. The ranks swelled, fleets grew, and the Mandalorians began constructing ships to match their vision. The clans, once fractured, became a single unstoppable tide of steel and fire, poised to march on the galaxy. In 3976 BBY, the Mandalorians struck Althir III. The defenders fought hard, but the outcome was inevitable. Althir's fall became the foundation of Mandalore's war machine. Its industry turned to supply conquest. To most in the Corps, it was a distant skirmish, a frontier matter. Yet it marked the first step in a storm that would consume the Republic. 3 years later, Mandalorian fleets descended upon Cathar. Casus Fett ordered the species herded into the sea and slaughtered. Basilisk war droids rained destruction, and 90% of the Cathar people perished. One Mandalorian woman defied the order, but she too was cut down. The massacre was near total. The Republic knew of it, but chose silence. From Althir to Cathar and beyond, refugees poured into the core. They told of genocide, of armored warriors burning worlds. The Senate dismissed the tales as exaggeration, unwilling to provoke a wider war. Instead, they waited, hoping the Mandalorians would tire and retreat. But each year, the Neo-Crusaders grew stronger, and their hunger for conquest only deepened. By 3965 BBY, Mandalore's fleets massed near the trade world of Taris. A defensive cordon was raised, admirals stood ready, and the Senate believed itself safe. For months, only skirmishes flickered. This stalemate became known as the False War, but it was only Mandalore's feint. When the blow came, it shattered the Republic's fragile defenses completely. The illusion ended at the Battle of Vanquo. Mandalorian fleets tore through the Republic's line, destroying the defensive cordon in a storm of fire. Admiral Veltrar fell with his flagship, and Taris came under siege. Mandalorian dreadnoughts bombarded the surface, while swoop gangs and resistance fighters struggled in the ruins. The true Mandalorian Wars had begun. From Taris, Mandalorian fleets surged in 3 invasion corridors. The north struck Iridonia and Ithor. The south burned Eris III, its plains set ablaze for decades. Another swept Coralwood through Wayland and Jebel, threatening Alderaan itself. The Republic was unprepared. Whole sectors fell in weeks. The Mandalorians were no longer raiders, they were conquerors, and the Republic buckled. At Serrico, the Republic gathered a massive fleet. Civilians lived beside soldiers, confident in their protection. Mandalore answered with nuclear fire. Missiles bypassed ships and fell upon cities, vaporizing millions. The Stereb people were nearly annihilated, and Jedi across the galaxy felt the scream of their deaths. Serrico's devastation became a symbol of Mandalorian ruthlessness. After Serrico, the Republic fell back in chaos. Duro's orbiting cities were destroyed, Onderon besieged, Dixun turned into a fortress. Mandalorian fleets recruited mercenaries, enslaved populations, and pressed deeper into the core. Each defeat sapped morale. The Senate debated endlessly, while worlds begged for help. It seemed the Republic would collapse under the relentless tide. Through it all, the Jedi Council refused to act. They sensed shadows behind the Mandalorians and feared the war was a trap laid by the dark side. Intervention, they believed, would bring only disaster. Yet, to soldiers and citizens, their silence felt like abandonment. The Jedi watched from Coruscant while the Outer Rim burned. Among the Jedi, frustration grew. One young knight rose to defy the council, gathering others who would fight. His name was Revan. With his close friend Alec, later called Malak, he inspired followers who called themselves the Revanchists. To them, inaction was cowardice. They left the council chambers behind and walked willingly into war, finally answering the desperate call of the Republic. On the ruined shores of Cathar, Revan uncovered the mask of the Mandalorian woman who had died defying Casus Fet. Touching it, Jedi and soldiers alike shared a vision of the massacre. Horrified, Revan swore never to remove the mask until Mandalore was defeated. With that vow, his rebellion became destiny. The council relented. The Jedi would enter the war. The Revanchists became commanders of the Republic's broken armies. Revan's brilliance reshaped the war. Convoys were ambushed, supply lines severed, morale rekindled. For the first time in years, Republic fleets advanced. Revan's mask became a banner of hope, yet his strategies grew ever more ruthless. He sacrificed populations, traded lives for victories. The war was saving the Republic, but scarring its savior. The Neo-Crusaders thrived on worthy opponents. Against Revan, they became sharper. Basilisk droids struck like meteors. Shock troops stormed fortified lines. Fleets adapted to new strategies. Though pushed back, their resolve hardened. They would not yield easily, for to them, every defeat was a stain on their honor. Revan had found his equal, and the war only grew bloodier. Revan struck at Chun and Onderon, Mandalorian strongholds fortified for years. The campaigns bled the Republic dry. Minefields, ambushes, jungle beasts, all claimed soldiers. Losses mounted 10 to 1, yet Revan would not relent. After months of slaughter, the Mandalorians were driven back. Onderon's liberation marked a turning point, but its cost was almost unbearable. The shipyards of Duro became another inferno. Mandalorian basilisks rained from orbit, destroying platforms and cities. But here, Revan turned their fury back upon them. With new hammerhead cruisers and interdictor warships, the Republic struck decisively. Duro was saved, though scarred. The Senate, desperate, named Revan Supreme Commander. At last, the Republic had a leader who could win. But the Mandalorians fought relentlessly. On Ver 4, a young Mandalorian named War Mugin defied orders to retreat. With volunteers, he held a narrow ridge against waves of Jedi and soldiers. Though doomed, their courage bought time for others to withdraw. The stand at Blood Ridge became legend among the clans, a tale of defiance and honor, even in defeat. With Revan in command, the Republic began to reclaim system after system. Campaigns tore through Mandalorian lines, worlds were liberated, fleets driven back toward the Rim. Yet the Mandalorians refused to surrender. Even in retreat, they fought with savage brilliance. Each battle demanded sacrifice, and Revan gave it freely. The Republic was winning, but victory came at a terrible cost. By 3960, the Mandalorians were cornered. Strongholds fell, fleets shattered. Still, Mandalore the Ultimate rallied his warriors. He would not surrender, not while he still drew breath. Revan, determined to end the war, prepared a final trap at a world steeped in darkness. Malachor V would be the crucible, the battle to decide the galaxy's fate. To ensure victory, Revan turned to terrible measures. With the engineer Bao-Dur, he created a weapon unlike any other, the mass shadow generator. It would drag fleets from the sky, shattering them upon the planet's surface. A weapon of annihilation, designed not to win a battle, but to erase an enemy. It would be unleashed at Malachor V. Mandalore rallied his armies for one final stand. Thousands of ships, hardened veterans, warriors sworn to follow him into death. The Republic gathered its largest fleet, battered but unbroken under Revan's command. Above the jagged world of Malachor, two titans prepared to clash. Every soldier knew this battle would decide the fate of the galaxy. The skies over Malachor ignited. Mandalorian dreadnoughts tore into Republic cruisers, basilisks rained fire, and war consumed the void. Amid the chaos, fleets maneuvered, weapons roared, and the darkness of the planet below seemed to hunger for blood. Soldiers fought with desperation, knowing there would be no retreat. Malachor had become the furnace of destiny. Aboard his flagship, Mandalore the Ultimate challenged Revan to single combat. Mask met mask, warrior against warrior. Their duel raged as fleets burned outside. At last, Revan struck him down. With his dying breath, Mandalore revealed the Sith manipulation that had led them to war. Revan took the mask, denying his people a new leader. As Mandalore fell, the mass shadow generator was unleashed. Gravity tore fleets from orbit. Ships collided, shattered, and rained onto the planet below. Malachor's surface cracked, its core wounded. Tens of thousands died in an instant. Republic and Mandalorian alike were dragged into fire. The galaxy shuddered at the scale of destruction. Malachor became a graveyard. When the storm ended, silence reigned. Wreckage drifted in orbit, the planet scarred beyond recognition. Survivors stared into the abyss of what had been done. The Mandalorian armies surrendered unconditionally. Their crusade was over, not with honor, but with annihilation. Malachor had devoured them, and the Republic had paid dearly for its survival. The Senate declared victory. Worlds celebrated survival. But beneath triumph lay ruin. Fleets were broken, economies shattered, entire sectors depopulated. Veterans carried scars, soldiers haunted by Malachor. The Republic had endured, yet it was hollowed, fragile, and wounded in ways no rebuilding could fully heal. The Mandalorians were stripped of armor and weapons, their basilisks dismantled, their mask hidden by Revan. Without it, the clans fractured, mercenaries and wanderers scattered across the galaxy. Yet even in defeat, their culture endured. Honor through battle, strength in struggle. They had been broken, but never erased. Their shadow would linger through every age to come. For the Jedi, the war left deeper wounds. Those who had fought returned changed, their faith shaken. Those who had stayed behind faced mistrust and doubt. The Order, once revered, now seemed divided and fallible. The Council feared they had planted seeds of darkness, yet they could not undo what had been done. Revan and Malak, hailed as saviours, did not return to rest. With fleets loyal to them, they vanished into the unknown regions, chasing the shadows that had begun this war. What they found there would change them forever, and the war they brought back would eclipse even Malachor. If you want to follow Revan's fascinating story deeper into the shadows, be sure to watch our Darth Revan video after this one using the pop-up card or the link in the description. The Mandalorian Wars were not only fought with fleets and armies, they were fought with ideals. The Mandalorians believed strength was forged in fire, and they proved it with every world they burned. The Republic clung to survival, yet each victory stripped away pieces of its soul. The Jedi tried to guard against darkness, but their silence fractured them, and their eventual intervention scarred them beyond repair. At Malachor, the galaxy paid a price it could never forget. The Mandalorians were broken, yet their legacy endured. The Republic stood, yet it was hollowed. And in the silence that followed, the saviour of the Republic was changed forever, set upon a path that would bring consequences greater than anything the galaxy had known before.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more great stories. Cheers.